Okay, everybody, this is the two big graveyards, and I just want to kind of give a reference here. This one here is 9 inches by just under a foot there, and I think this one's about the same. Let's see here. Yeah, this one's a foot, and then its widest, it's about 9 inches again. So this is just bead board. It's an MDF board that has this bead on it. I salvaged this from a work site somewhere close to me. You know, somebody that I know that's in construction that had scrap. And so I took this piece and I cut it out with a jigsaw, used a sanding block on it, you know, a sanding belt to kind of do it. And I just had this yellow primer left over from another project. So I primed it with yellow to get started with. And you can see I have 2 of them. And what it is these 2 pieces are going to go with the other terrain pieces that I did that were graveyard. As you can see, I made 2 really small hills and 2 medium hills. These small hills, just to give a point of reference, are 6 inches by 2.5. And the 2 medium-sized hills are 7 inches by 3.5. These pieces of terrain, so I have 2 of these, 2 of those, and then 2 of these huge pieces. And the reason why we're doing it that way is so that you have a full table of terrain for your Warhammer Fantasy or AOS or any of the fantasy-based games. You could use it in, you know, 40K also, sure, because you know, the human, you know, groups and 40K could have graveyards. So that's what these are. And so what I'm going to do is I've cut these big pieces of blue foam. These blue foam pieces are 1 inch in thickness. And then I'm going to use some of this pink board that's just foam that are about 1/2 inch. They're just bigger than 1/2 inch foam. So what I've done is, like I said, I cut these 2 out and I cut these blue pieces to be generally the shape that I wanted for each. And then what I need to do is I need to use my knife to kind of shape these up. I'm going to use these pink boards to put a, you know, like a big mortuary kind of, you know, or a tomb, you know, some kind of tomb up on the mountain or on a hill. And then I'll probably set them offset, you know, so that they're not straight any one direction. But that way you're going to get 2 hills with something that looks themed for the graveyard stuff. And that's what we're going to do in this project. I am going to use Power Grab, you know, which is just this is an all-purpose, you know, adhesive. I like to use these for the foam to get them down on the pieces of wood and attach the pink, you know, the pink foam to the other. That's definitely good. And I'm also going to use this heavyweight spackling to kind of make things look the way I want to. And then once that dries, I'll coat the whole thing with PVA glue. So this is just step 1. I'm going to go kind of fast to shape all this stuff. And I'll probably do some cut takes in between because, you know, some of it will be boring because I have 2 of them. I'm definitely going to work on one so you can see it, but I'll show off both at the end. Anyway, I hope that helps. I look forward to, you know, walking you through this project as we do these gigantic pieces for a fantasy setting, and stick around so you can see what the finished project looks like. Okay, I just have a retractable utility knife, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start shaping this hill up. Some people prefer wire cutter. I prefer these utility knife kind of things, just because I feel like it does a little bit better for me for what I'm wanting to achieve with it. So let me move that just a little bit. I'm gonna make a deeper cut here. I just wanted to outline kind of the shape I wanted in general. Go back and make a deeper cut, and then I'll snap these off and then start shaping up the hill that I'm looking for. All right. Now, these will just break off. I'm gonna set this foam to the side, get it out of my way. Go back to our, I think I want it like this. So now what I'm gonna do is just shape it up a little bit from this point. All right, so what I do is I just take the knife and I'm gonna run it like that. And this is gonna make a lot of scrap and a lot of mess. And like I said, you could use a wire cutter if you wanted to for these steps. I just tend to like this better. For one thing, I feel like wire cutters make a lot of gas and smell that I don't like. And I don't feel like it gets me the shape I want. But I mean, you know, if you like a wire cutter, you should totally use a wire cutter. I wouldn't tell you not to do it. Use the tools that make the most sense for you. This is what just makes the most sense for me. What I'm doing here is I'm just wanting to shape these hills so that they're not so steep on all these sides, so that technically units or individual troops could get up the hill. You don't want to make it where they can't at all do it. But on this back side, I'll leave it kind of steep along through here. That's starting to shape up the way I want. And then what I do here is I'm just going to do somewhat of an undercut so it looks a little bit more like stone. And we'll fill this undercut with spackle a little bit so that it's not so jarring for, you know, somebody that's trying to put troops up it. But it also makes it look more like an actual hill if we do an undercut. Like I said, on this back side, I'm going to kind of leave it a little bit rough so that it would be like one side you can't get up, and then these other sides you can. All right. So now that I've kind of cleaned this up, I want to position it kind of like that. You kind of see that I have space all the way around. I really don't want anything to overhang off because that just risks it getting broken. This corner right here is a little bit close, and so is this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shape this a little bit more. And then I'll turn this around and do the same thing here. I just don't want any cause for this to get broken because something was hanging off. All right. Let me retract my blade here for a second. clean this up a bit, just so we get some of this off. Okay. Now, like I said, this side I'm leaving kind of rough. These sides are going to be a little smoother. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it down, and then I'm going to sand it once it's dry to be a little smoother here, just with a sanding block. And then we'll move on to the next step, because what I'm going to do is, say like this piece here is, and I'm going to probably change the proportions of this a little bit, but this was my starting point. So I kind of wanted it where it would be like something like this, but this is a little bit too big. So let me shape this a little bit different. Set those to the side. And then I want this one to be kind of the same. Pretty close in dimension to the other. All right, that looks a little bit more representative of what I wanted. And what I'll do is I'll put this on there, and then I'll put a top on it, right, and a back, the back here. And what that's going to look like is a pretty big mortuary. And that looks a little rough now, but this won't look rough later. All right, so just doing some measuring here. So what I need to do is pull that back edge off. Then cut a little bit off the edge there. All right. So I'm going to straighten up this edge just a bit. Then I want to make this fit on the top. I think it's just a little bit long for what I want. So I'm going to cut down this just a little bit, and I'm going to take a little bit off the side. And keep all these pieces. You can use these for stone walls and other things along the way. All right, so I think I have this one where I want it. I'm going to smooth this stuff over to the side. Now what we need to do is, let me close this. What we need to do is glue this stuff down. Now, like I said, I've been using this power grip for a while. It sticks to pretty much anything. And they last for a very long time. And it has this open close button, which is great because that makes this pop out. And so once you have it in that up position, you know, where the handle's up, it'll start to come out. I'm going to take this and just take a look at it. Just want to wiggle it into place. There we go. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put this together now. This one is off just a bit. So let me look at this again. So now what I'm going to do is on these rough sides, where it's not quite as smooth, I'm going to put those down. Like I said, I don't think I want this to be like straight, you know, I want it to be offset just a little bit. So I'm just going to mark with a pencil kind of where I want it and make sure that this I'm going to make this just a little thinner, and then make sure it's the correct height at the back. Okay. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to shift this just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let me get this in. Then I'm going to put this other side on. All right. Then I'm going to put this piece in. I'm going to leave just a little bit of an overhang. On both sides, the back and the front. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this adhesive, and I'm just going to go around the edge here. I can kind of tell on this side I needed to come down just a bit. Now I'm just going to smooth away anything that looks rough. So I'm going to smooth up that back. And this is a sandable product, but I won't sand on this too much. And I just need to make sure it doesn't look, you know, like it's half wonky. All right, now on the front, it's a little bit big. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna take something like this, just wedge it in there, like that. So I kind of close down that opening just a little bit. And what that will do is, you really don't want troops inside of it, you know, for terrain purposes. But you want it to look the piece, you know, look the part. So what I've done is I've put a little bit of adhesive on the top and the bottom, and along the edge that will touch the other piece. Slid it into place. And then I'll take just a little bit of the adhesive and fill that gap in between them. It's not much of a gap, you can't really see too much. And like I said, I'm gonna go back with spackle on this piece, you know, once this dries into place, and smooth up anything that needs smoothing up. But the adhesive has to get it into place in the first place. All right. I'm just gonna take a look at it one more time here. Look at this back just to make sure it looks right, which it does. All right. So I know it doesn't look like much right yet, but I'll just show you how that looks from the front, the sides, and the back. And like I said, I need to let this dry, and then we'll do the next step, which is going to be to put spackle on it so that it starts looking like a hill and stone. And the stone is all really going to come from painting it. All right, well, anyway, that's where we'll leave it off. I did this one. I'll have both of them together next time we get together, and we'll start doing spackle on them.